Hi, Vieira with StockMarketLive.tv. So today we have a free lesson on how to invest in the markets, and we are going to use this opportunity that you had in Newmont Mining, where I announced live a free market call when to get rid of gold stocks precisely at the top, okay? Going short and with amazing profits on a short-term basis. The same I did with regards to oil. The same I did with regards to US dollar, the same I did with regards to the British pound, the same I did with regards to many other stocks, as well as the case of gold that we discuss today. So, and Bitcoins. And all those market calls completely free, all right? Recorded live, unique in the world, across different market sectors and all financial instruments. So if your question is why gold stocks, and in particular Newmont Mining, they have been plunging, the answer, it has been available at StockMarketLive.tv for several months. We wrote an article saying that the stock market was likely to remain rigged until US elections. Moreover, I said that the US stock market was going to see new all-time highs, and this despite the fact that Goldman Sachs, a couple of months ago, they wrote an article saying you should be out of the stock market for the next 3 months. So for those that they have been out of the stock market for the past couple of months, you missed, I think, one of the best periods of the stock market in the past couple of years. Not only the new highs in the stock market, as well as terrific investment opportunities, buying stocks at the bottom, as the case of Twitter, and many other examples that I discussed here. So, if the question is whether the markets, we already provided to you completely free. So, the answer is yes. And the reason behind all this is related to the fact that the Federal Reserve main interest is never been, since I announced it in June 2015, you have my calls, the commentaries live and so on. The main reason is that they have never been, and I'm referring not to Bernanke but to this new chairman, Mrs. Yellen, she's not interested in the economy at all. Zero interest in the economy. Her main interest is only one, is the stock market, all right? And the stock market today in the United States, it is completely rigged in the sense that it is manipulated, okay? So it was simple to make the prediction that obviously for the markets to see new highs, for example, gold stocks, they had to plunge. There was no other alternative, just had to refer to my calls, and that was the reason for you to sell Newmont Mining at $45 an ounce, okay? Not only because the stock was a strong buy when I called it at $18 an ounce, not at $45 an ounce, and when everyone then started posting on the web, as it is always the case, in the United States, that you should invest in gold stocks, it was also easy to predict that gold stocks, and the most important is always, or it has been always, Newmont Mining, that gold stocks, they were going to correct, and to correct significantly. So the large investors in the world, they sold Newmont Mining and gold stocks and gold in general precisely on this day that you have this call live, free on the web, Newmont Mining trading at $45 an ounce, okay? Very close to the top, as we always do. So we cover short positions very near the bottom, as well as we sell positions very near the top. So this is one of the reasons why you should always refer to the articles and the content and the complementary market calls on the website of the company, since they report to the best historical track record investing in the markets, proven, all right? So no one else in the world has been able ever to do something like this. I'm not referring only to Newmont Mining. We never missed one single call in Newmont Mining. Obviously, this was going to take some time, so the shares, they were not going to plunge and we didn't want to within 1 week. This is Newmont Mining. It is not a company as, for example, Chesapeake Energy or Solar City, all right? And bear in mind that in Solar City also I offered you free market calls, okay? So this is all related or correlated to what we have been here discussing. Often free live streaming sessions that you have on the website of the company. And also approve or a confirmation that earnings, they don't matter at all. So, my friends, the stock market in US, earnings, they don't matter at all until the day that they start matter. They start having some weight, but at this present moment, that has not been the case precisely because the objective, or their objective in particular, the Federal Reserve, as some people or individuals, they already open their eyes and they can finally visualize it. But today, in my opinion, it is already too late to visualize it. So you had to, the value of referring to this was several months ago and not today that the markets are already at new highs, okay? For example, the information that you obtain through Goldman Sachs is completely useless. Okay, so Goldman Sachs, every single call that they made in stock market, they completely failed, all right? So unfortunately today, but that has been one, of the factors present in the US stock market for a long period of time. But when we refer to the past, some people, they might say, well, but you are referring to things that they have been always present. But that is not, in fact, the reality. That does not correspond to the truth. That is to say that in other periods of the history, in the past, we had what I call free market in a certain sense. Obviously, the term free market is something that is very subjective, but compared to today or 2016, in other periods in the past, we had in fact a free market where today there is no free market at all. So when today many people, that is in fact not today, many people in the past or in the past years, they quit the markets or they are afraid or concerned with investing or participating in the markets. One of the reasons is in fact, for example, the role of the central banks and in particular the Federal Reserve. They have not been helpful at all, not only the central banks, the authorities, the SEC, they don't know absolutely anything other than to receive a salary by the end of the month. Everything else, they close their eyes. You just have to look, in fact, to the recent examples with regards to share price manipulation that I referred to last year. Although they did something, in Yelp, the shares then they crashed. But this in 2016, nothing so far has happened in a company as Tesla Motors or Solar City, which is completely unbelievable. But there are even more clear examples of transparency with regards to the existence of fraud. What you have seen in happening in Wells Fargo. I think one of the best opportunities here that you had for addressed precisely on the website of the company in a service called Live Markets Premium and Higher. The case of Bank of America, the case of long term of Deutsche Bank that today it is everyone is talking about, but we were the first company and myself the first to refer to Deutsche Bank and the problems behind not only in fact Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse. Although Credit Suisse today no one is talking about, but Credit Suisse no one is talking about, not only because they are incompetent, but also because Credit Suisse does not have any weight compared to Deutsche Bank. Okay? So today Deutsche Bank is the bank on the news, but you already had here, I don't know how many articles with regards to Deutsche Bank. And if you are a subscriber, you even have lessons in the basic training course with regards to this very important matter. So I was going to say that unfortunately today you have by far more manipulation, including by authorities, that it is not supposed to have. So I remind you, for example, in the past cases that you had manipulation, interest rates and stuff that in fact affects or has an impact on everyone else. But this is the reality of the markets as of today, as it is, and you have to know how to deal with it. Because, my friends, one thing it is certain: you are not going to remove. This is an external factor or a factor that is present in the markets. So when people they are afraid to participate in markets because there is this manipulation or external influence by the central banks or whatever, well, I personally I think that it is or it has been a huge mistake, as I proved thousands of times. But that is always your decision, because, my friends, the manipulation in the markets, they exist, they will continue to exist, but you also have to be certain that this manipulation, since we are using this term, always has a price, and often a very high price to be paid. Okay, so I would say that people or investors in general, they should remain or continue to be tuned to the markets, to changes, because things today, sentiment in the markets is very positive. Even today, I could refer here to stories, recent ones, around the most important companies in the world, as the case of Apple. It was funny to address and to comment on these recent numbers. That fact, there are no numbers. Apple does not disclose anymore how much they are selling. And I explain everything in detail why they don't, for example, today they address or respond how much they are selling, while in the past they were doing it, or they have been always doing it. All these things, they are correlated, my friends. And like I said before, thousands of times, the only thing that you have to do is to use the most important tool that God offered you, which is precisely the brain. Okay, so if you are willing to start using your brain instead of relying on third parties, or what you read on the web, or what these banks, investment firms, they say, as Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley or whatever, probably you are going to start doing by far better than compared to what you have been doing so far. That is my opinion. That is based on facts. Okay, so I'm not saying here, this is my recommendation based on facts. For example, if you invested in gold stocks or Newmont mining, when everyone else, a few weeks ago, they were raising targets, and many articles, they surged, happened, started to appear on the web in the United States for whatever reason, probably those that they had long positions, they were paying for those articles to appear there, as it is in fact a common practice among certain companies, which also I addressed here, including management of certain companies, very suspicious. Okay, so my friends, the fact is that we live in a world or in a market where there is no control or regulation. When I listen to a politician saying that there is too much regulation and all that stuff, there is no regulation at all. In fact, there is no difference. And when in fact also, I remember one case of a CEO of one of the largest banks in the world, JP Morgan, complaining about the regulation. I mean, where is the regulation? I don't see any regulation whatsoever, my friends. I see that what do I see? And what do I see? That I'm not here to paint in any scenario. What the reality is, which is completely different, is that you live in a cowboy world. Okay, this is a cowboy. Everyone can do whatever you want. You can in fact include the case of Wells Fargo that is proven. I'm not referring to a scandal, I'm referring to fraud. Okay, predatory fraud that is precisely the same practice that you saw, ahead of the financial crisis a few years ago. And so the question is, what changed? Nothing changed, but nothing was going to change. I already addressed this many years ago, my friends. So the only thing that changed was not only nothing changed with regards to these matters of regulation, as also didn't change, or the only thing that changed was compared to the past, by far more aggressive policy by the central banks, and policy that in fact does not come up only from one country, the United States, but several countries that meanwhile, for example, in some of them they bet or invested in other words, in the negative interest rates, all right? So this is the reality as it is, and I should warn you, because things as they everything that has been happening in the markets is according to what we predicted that was going to occur. I should also warn you that there will be a time. I think that you have to be rather careful investing in the markets in the sense of assuming, for example, new positions or chasing momentum in the markets or whatever, because my friends, you should always invest when no one else wants to be there. Okay, precisely as an example, material fact, the case of Goldman Sachs posting an article, get out of the markets. When you see the kind of articles, you immediately buy everything. You sell your house, you sell everything, even your dog, and you buy stocks. My friends, in a couple of months later, you are a millionaire, okay? Obviously not investing in First Solar, all right? So First Solar, it was in buying list of Goldman Sachs, and shares, they crashed, okay? So obviously doing precisely the opposite, or buying Caterpillar, that was a very good, or Deere, that the examples that Goldman Sachs downgrading, okay? So, I mean, the story is the same every single year, okay? When people, they ask, what is the forecast for next year or whatever, it's the same. Every single year it is the same. It happens every single time, it is the same, right? This has not ever changed, okay? So, if you have not seen ever changes, I think that the strategy or investment strategy has to remain always the same. You are not going to change the team while the team is working, or this, in other words, the strategy. So where is the difficulty of this? Why people, they need targets or price targets, or complex technical indicators or charts that they don't tell absolutely anything other than to put there stupid as there are in fact in many articles on Seeking Alpha, on these trading views, stockcharts.com, and all these stock tweets and all these scam websites. It is completely useless. The only thing that you need is a live stock chart telling you this is the entry price, and one day you are going to see the exit price, okay? So you have the example of Newmont Mining, $45 an ounce, you sell, you don't have to ask questions later, if the shares, they were trading at $50, the answer will be exactly the same. You sold, you make your profit, you are done, okay? If you didn't sell, well, my friends, today you gave back, I would say, very large profits that you had before by not selling and by being greedy. So, my friends, now call Mrs. Yellen and ask her for a bailout. But she's not going to bail you out, because if she's there for some reason, is precisely to make the most for the banks, to bail out the investment firms, that they continue playing like Bill Ackman with other people's money. And while she's doing it, or she has been doing it, my friends, this is not going to you are not going anywhere, okay? So one thing that you also have, I think, a wonderful article from The Guardian that is already several months old, is precisely a title, The End of Capitalism. Okay, so the capitalism does not exist. It ceased to exist a long time ago, and the proof or things that they have been happening is precisely the confirmation of it. All right, so you have the stock market and many other things controlled by a small number of market participants, where it is, I believe, for your own benefit, and volatility should not, in the market, should not be seen as a threat, but instead, as always said, as a great opportunity. So try to, train your mind to do what it is supposed to do, instead of relying on third parties or listening to others. Because others, my friends, one thing that I learned, since childhood, is precisely not to believe in free lunches. Okay, so if you believe in free lunches, and if you lose money in the markets, that is or should be, or you should assume the responsibility. Something that in fact most people, they don't want to, to assume the responsibility for their losses, and they always blame third parties. And I'm saying this because this is very important, okay? Because some people, they blame, for example, the Federal Reserve because they lose money in the markets and blah, blah. But like I said before, you have the most important thing here, more important than earnings, more important than evaluations of companies, more important than, technical indicators that everyone is, knows, more important than anything. There are many other factors that can affect the performance of a market or a stock. External factors, politics, news, fake news that you were not expecting to come up, but they can, for some reason, rumors, buyouts, stuff like that. CEOs of companies saying that they are selling, huge, although they are not selling anything. Okay, for example, there are many things but it is simple to know, because you should expect from them to listen, because they are very transparent. When a croc is a croc, you always have or know what to expect from a croc. So we have a very simple strategy towards certain companies, how to invest, and we predict very easily stock prices. 100% accuracy, intraday, no problem at all. Since we know very well what these guys are doing, what to expect from them, and therefore, where is the surprise? There is no surprise whatsoever, and this is how you invest successfully in the markets. To learn about the game. To learn about the game is by far more important than you read books, or you go to university, or you go to somewhere else, or you listen to, that guy on CNBC that today is telling you that, meanwhile, gold, my friend, why gold is down, The question is, how many of them they call it the crash in gold or in crash in oil in the past few years? And none of them. So, my friends, I don't know any of them that called it. So I called it because I wrote there. Not only you were going to see the crash in oil, as well as the crash in gold. It is written, it is recorded live. These guys, they appear one day, I made the call in gold, I made the call in oil. All right, show me the money. Where is it? Money. No, I'm on CNBC talking about it. They run away. So they don't have it, they don't make any fucking money in the markets. They don't make any calls, they don't ever record live on the tape. And there is nothing, because, all of them, or most of them, not all of them I don't like never or all, or none. But most of them are in fact crocs, incompetents, and in fact people, with ties with authorities, playing games. And, it's the reality as it is. So, or you either accept it or you don't. So that is up to you. But my friends, if this is the stock market where money is played, many other things in life, you also have manipulation in other sense, and therefore I terminate by saying this is life. All right, so be prepared for it and play with it, or learn how to profit from it, because I think that is the most important, not then to complain, I lost money because of blah, 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 or blaming third parties or the Federal Reserve, or, I don't know, whatever. Because people, they always find their own arguments or excuses to blame someone else on their losses, when in fact it is precisely, entirely their incompetence, because the things they have been there, always there before their eyes. So it is their incompetence not to profit from. And, not to be patient with regards to this matter, and people that they always looking at the share price, always moving, what is moving. You don't see me here calm. I'm very calm, you want money 35. I'm very calm. And people there, buy now, sell now, we are, then you come the Americans, they say, well, we are making millions scalping stocks, high frequency trading, what the fuck are they talking about? These guys are completely, ridiculous, my friend. So, this is the reality as it is. If you are tuned to something else, my friend, you are completely blind. And in fact, very well, because if you are blind, you belong to 90, the rest of them that are all in the same bag, losing money in the markets, and we are here laughing as well as the subscribers and all those that they use their brain. Okay, so good luck. You have here a free live streaming lesson, and I have to go because I have other things to do.